Time is a flat circle.
People often repeat that line from True Detective. It's easy to quote, harder to sit with. Harder still to let it sink in until it becomes something you carry. There's a rhythm to True Detective Season 1 that feels closer to reflection than drama. It's not about a killer or even the people chasing him. It's about what remains when the structures of belief fall apart. It's about two men standing in the wreckage, one who has accepted the void and another who still clings to appearances. This is not a show about justice. It is a meditation on decay, on the unreliability of memory, on identity as performance. And at its core, it is a study of one man, Rustin Cohle, who becomes a kind of lens through which the darkness of the world comes into focus. Russ does not speak like a man trying to convince anyone. He speaks like someone who has already passed through fire and found that nothing on the other side offers shelter. His philosophy is often labeled nihilism, but that word alone lacks the necessary weight. What Cohle suggests again and again is that the idea of meaning itself may be a delusion. Human life, he says, is not sacred. Consciousness is not a gift. It is an evolutionary accident, one that enables us to suffer with awareness.
The honorable thing for our species to do is deny our programming. Stop reproducing. Walk hand in hand into extinction.
This is antinatalism in its barest form, not as ideology, but as grief. Cohle is not trying to sell an idea. He is speaking for something deeper. He has lived with the kind of pain that empties a person. His daughter died. His marriage collapsed. He spent years deep undercover, surrounded by the worst that people can become. Whatever he once believed, it has long since collapsed under the weight of what he has seen. He is not looking to rebuild. When Russ says time is a flat circle, he is not being poetic. He is describing a felt reality. For him, time does not move forward. It loops. The pain returns. The same failures, the same crimes, the same faces. He watches people repeat the same mistakes, generation after generation. This echoes the idea of eternal recurrence, not as metaphor, but as structure. The past never dies. The future is already contaminated. The self is not a fixed thing, only a pattern repeating itself with slight variations. Cohle experiences this not only intellectually, but physically. He hallucinates. He suffers from neurological damage. His perception of reality is unreliable. But unreliability, in his case, becomes its own kind of clarity. He sees beneath the skin of things. His visions are not fantastical. They are distortions of truth, truth rendered unbearable. In contrast, Marty Hart represents something else. He is not a villain, nor is he a hero. He is ordinary. But ordinary, in True Detective, is not safe. Marty is full of contradictions. He preaches family values, but he cheats compulsively. He insists on order, but he is governed by impulse. He strikes out in violence when he loses control, often cloaking it in the language of righteousness. Marty lives in the story he tells himself. He believes in appearances. He needs to. Without them, there is only the void, and Marty is not prepared to face that. This is what makes him Rust's opposite. Not because he is good or bad, but because he is unwilling to look directly at the world's emptiness. He cannot bear to strip away the lies. His stability is a fragile one, always at risk of shattering. The tension between Rust and Marty is not just personal, it is philosophical. One clings to structure, the other has already burned it down. The Louisiana of True Detective is not just a setting. It is a condition. Fields are scorched. Churches are abandoned. Playgrounds stand empty. The land feels forgotten, as though time passed through and left nothing behind but debris. Here, evil does not erupt. It leaks. It festers. It embeds itself in families, in churches, in government. No one institution is safe. Everything is porous. The Tuttle family, the schools, the sheriffs, these are not anomalies. They're symptoms. The show is not interested in the serial killer as a singular monster. It is interested in how monsters survive in plain sight, protected by silence, wealth, and power. What the show suggests, quietly but insistently, is that evil often wears a mask of legitimacy. It speaks in sermons. It funds schools. It hosts fundraisers. The horror is not in what is hidden. It is in what is accepted. Rust has no use for conventional morality.
If the only thing keeping a person decent is the expectation of divine reward, then, brother, that person is a piece of shit.
He does not believe in it, and he does not pretend to. He does not reject morality out of spite, but because he sees its foundations as hollow. Good and evil, in his view, are constructs, useful fictions. He is not immoral. He acts with integrity, but he does so with no expectation of reward, no belief in justice. His actions are a form of resistance, not against evil itself, but against the absurdity of the world. He chooses to continue not because he believes he will win, but because someone should. That may be the most human thing about him. In most stories, knowledge brings resolution. It solves the case. It restores order. That does not happen here. In True Detective, knowledge is corrosive. It undoes belief. It alienates. It isolates. Rust sees too much. Marty refuses to see. The show offers no clear path between them. Knowing the truth does not save Rust. It nearly kills him, but it also makes him the only one capable of acting when it matters. When others look away, he looks closer. There is no triumph in this. No catharsis. Just an act of refusal. There's a name that drifts through the case like a fog. The Yellow King. It begins as a scribble in a child's notebook. A whisper in a survivor's confession. Later, in the killer's riddles, and in the dead hush of a long-forgotten videotape. But the show never reveals a clear identity. That is not neglect. That is design. The Yellow King comes from Robert W. Chambers' The King in Yellow, a book of strange tales written in the 1890s. In those stories, the king is not a character, but a presence, a cursed idea. The stories tell of a fictional play that, once read, reveals truths so unbearable they unravel the mind. In True Detective, this mythology is not literal. It is metaphor. The Yellow King is not a man. He is what you see when you stare too long into human cruelty and find no bottom. He is the ritual, the complicity, the silence. He is trauma passed through bloodlines and institutions. He is the knowledge that whatever we expose, it will not stop. That this rot is older than us, and it will outlast us. To invoke the Yellow King is to name something beyond language, a shape we recognize only in the periphery of sanity. The climax of the season takes place in Carcosa, a decaying ruin overgrown with vines, filled with relics of unspeakable ritual. It is not a showdown in the traditional sense. There is no revelation that redeems, no villain that explains everything. What Rust finds there is confirmation. The evil he suspected, the network of abuse he traced. It is real, and worse than imagined. The killer is not a mastermind. He is a product, a symptom, a man shaped by trauma, covered by institutions, allowed to continue because no one wanted to dig deep enough. He bleeds out, and in that moment, something strange happens. He sees light, not metaphorical light, but something like presence. He sees his daughter, his father. He experiences, for a moment, something he cannot explain or rationalize away. In the final scene, Russ sits with Marty beneath the stars.
Once there is only dark. Yes, any lights winning.
This line has been read as redemption, but it is quieter than that, more fragile. Russ does not believe in salvation. He does not suddenly become a man of faith. What changes is not what he sees, but what he allows. He allows, for the first time, the possibility that not everything is nothing. That maybe love or memory or whatever we glimpse in our final moments matters, if only because we felt it. This is not optimism. It is not hope. It is something else. Perhaps acceptance. Perhaps just exhaustion. But it's enough to leave the story open, not in victory, but in pause. True Detective Season 1 is not a police procedural. It is a meditation on death, on time, on systems that fail, and people who fracture. It offers no easy answers and does not chase closure. It asks us to sit with discomfort, to consider the idea that justice is rare, that meaning may be an illusion, and that continuing in the face of that may be the only form of integrity left to us. Rustin Cohle is not a role model. He is not a hero. He is a man who tells the truth, even when it ruins him. That, more than anything else, is what makes him unforgettable.
It's all one ghetto, man. Giant gutter in outer space.